All right. My name's Jamal Galley, and I thought this is a redo of this little Switch rant video that I wanted to do since, because as of the time of me recording right now, it is now 10:51 on June 4th. So we're only about an hour away until the Switch 2 actually officially launches, and I am actually going to be getting the Switch 2 tomorrow. This is I actually pre-ordered it, and it's supposed to be coming to my house tomorrow at 10:30 at night for some reason. I don't know why it's coming so late. So I was gonna make this little rant here first before I do an unboxing video, which I may or may not tack this onto that, or I might just make this video into a separate thing. But yeah, I might make it separate. But yeah, so I'll most likely be posting it probably on Friday instead of the day of tomorrow, since my system is coming in so late. I really don't know why it's coming in at 10 o'clock at night, but there's always a possibility it could come a little earlier than that. But anyway, but I am someone who actually pre-ordered the Switch 1 a long time ago, back in 2016. I pre-ordered that at a Walmart, and which was kind of wild because I was actually around 11 years old at the time when this happened. Since when I pre-ordered my Switch 1, but so yeah, and I was fresh out of elementary school too and everything. So yeah, it's kind of wild to think that I was 11 years old back then, or I was just about 11 years old. 10 years old back then, and now I'm 8 years. Over 8 years later. I'm 20 years old and in college now. So I thought this would be like a weird little time lapse of sorts in between that, and I'll probably link my original Switch 1 unboxing video that I did on my original channel that's under my mom's name. That I'll probably put that video in the description of this. But yeah. But the point is that I've been supporting the Switch since day one, basically. And I've had my Switch since day one, and been buying games and everything. Even though I didn't use my Switch as much after 2021 when I got my Xbox Series S, and realized that I have started to grow more standards when it comes to frame rates and graphics and games and all that. So that's why when it came to certain games like Fortnite or Mortal Kombat 11, once I played those games on the Xbox Series S, I never went back to the Switch versions unless I was in a desperate situation to play Fortnite on there. I usually wouldn't play it on there, since it is still the worst version of the game you can play on a console, and I'm sure the Switch 2 version is definitely going to be much better. But yeah, and I assume because of that, that's why my Switch 1 has actually started to suffer from battery deterioration issues, where the battery percentage starts to fluctuate all over the place, where it goes from 100% to 50%, 100% to 20%. It's weird, and even before that, it was also dying faster than it should, so it made it hard for me to even try to take it anywhere on the go without it dying before I even get to use it where I'm taking it to. So which is also one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to get a Switch 2. Which I know the Switch 2 does have an option that addresses that issue, where they have an option on the settings. Cause they showed this on the Nintendo Today app. They had a setting where you can set your but when you're using a Switch on the TV, you can set it to where the battery percentage only goes up to 90% instead of the full 100, to try to prevent that. I'm sure it won't 100% work, but it's still nice that they've added that in there. Even though, for what I understand, that is a basic thing that a lot of portable devices these days do. But yeah, but there is all of that, and of course, just because I am getting the Switch 2 doesn't mean that I'm not that doesn't mean that I am ignorant to all of the issues and controversies that have been surrounding the Switch 2 since they showed it off on that direct. Where they showed off the system and some of the games that were coming to it. Which, in hindsight, I guess I can understand why Nintendo didn't put the price tags of anything on that direct, especially with everybody's reaction to Mario Kart World being $80 for some reason, which I'm still not a fan of. I don't give a fuck what Nintendo says. I don't give a fuck if tariffs exist or not. I still don't think $80 games should be a thing. In general, not just with Nintendo, which I'm aware that in general a lot of things in gaming have been going up, not just the video games. The same also goes for hardware as well. We saw that a few weeks ago with Xbox in the beginning of last month, where where basically everything at Xbox went up. Like their consoles and accessories and everything, and even their games are going to go up later on this year. So yeah, so I'm definitely not a fan of the prices going on with the Switch 2 and just with gaming in general right now when it comes to actually getting gaming accessories and consoles. That has become more expensive than it should, than it ever has been before. Even though typically, in the past, consoles usually go down in price as time goes on, or the longer they're sold for. But, yeah, and of course there is also the issue that I have with the Switch 2, which I'm sure is also an issue a lot of people have. Like I said, I don't think, actually I didn't say that, but yeah, but I'm sure everything that I'm saying here is probably nothing new, at least to the few people who are going to watch this anyway. But nothing I'm saying here is really anything new that you might not have heard before. But yeah, but I'm also not a fan of how you have to pay to upgrade certain games that you already own. Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, for example. Especially if it's not even going to provide you with new content that takes advantage of the technology of the system, where it takes advantage of the new features. Like it is with Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby and the Forgotten Land, where both of those games do add in new things in there that uses the new features that the Switch 2 has going on. So I think it's a bit more justified for as to why those games have a price tag when it comes to upgrading them if you already own both of those games or one of them. But I don't think it does. I don't think it's justified for Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom to have that same price tag since as far as I've seen, all the Switch 2 versions of those games have is that they run and look better. And that's it. It doesn't add any new content, no new quests or anything, or no new weapons, enemies, nothing. So I personally don't think that price tag to upgrade Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch 2 makes any sense to me. And it's especially bad if it's the first time that you're playing either one of those games on the Switch 2, especially Breath of the Wild, where for some reason the Switch 2 version does not come with its DLC, which was about $20 from what I remember. So yeah, so you'll easily be spending about almost $100, I think, or about $100 just on Breath of the Wild alone. If you wanted to get the full package, you'd be easily spending about $100 on Breath of the Wild, which is insane, especially since that game is over 8 years old at this point. So it doesn't make any sense at all. Why a game that old is more expensive now to buy than it was back when it came out in 2017. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, but of course there is also, the whole bricking issue that Nintendo's doing, where they're going to be bricking people's systems if you try to modify it in any way. But I won't be surprised if at some point the Switch 2 probably will be jailbroken and hacked, and people will find a way to modify it without getting bricked or without getting in trouble with Nintendo in any kind of way. But so yeah, so despite all the negatives that I've said there about the Switch 2, and I guess just with the current things and the current state of things in gaming in general, that I am still getting a Switch 2 just because, like I said, I had that little battery issue that I've had, and I thought it'd be time for me to upgrade then instead of getting the battery replaced for it. So, but I feel like it might make it a little hard for me to sell my Switch 1 because of the battery issue that I have there, unless I do get it fixed. But I don't know. and I don't know what to do there. But yeah, but overall, and I know things have not been very positive when it comes to the Switch 2, just justifiably so. I really do not blame people for not wanting to buy the Switch 2 or straight up boycotting Nintendo. I really do not blame anybody for not wanting to buy it for all the reasons that I was saying and every other reason that the Switch 2 has been extremely anti-consumer in almost every aspect, basically. And I would say that Nintendo has become even more anti-consumer than they've ever have been before, which I know they've had a history of being anti-consumer in the past, but I feel like it definitely has gotten worse over the past few months, especially with everything going with the Switch 2. Everything has definitely been going worse with that overall, I think. So yeah, so there is definitely a lot of negatives there, and I don't know about any of the pros either, because of course, as there's no reviews for the Switch 2 out yet. I have seen that there are some people that are doing unboxings of the Switch 2 now. Because I remember I saw Marcus Brownlee uploaded an unboxing of it earlier today. So there are people that are unboxing it right now, but no reviews or anything. So for some reason, Nintendo did not give out early copies to people to review. So I think that's also kind of weird for them to do. But yeah, but I am still getting a Switch 2, which, as I mentioned way earlier in the video, is coming to my house on June 4th at 10 o'clock at night for some reason. But at least according to my app from the store that I'm getting it from, it's coming to my house at 10 o'clock at night. So I'll most likely maybe will still film a unboxing video that night that it comes to my house, and then I'll probably post it on Friday since it's late at night. So I thought I might as well upload it earlier in the day where more people might see it. So yeah, so that's probably going to be the plan there. So I think I'll probably make this video its own separate thing instead of tacking this on to the unboxing. So that's just my thoughts that I wanted to give out before the Switch 2 actually comes out, because as of right now, it's 11 o'clock. So we are about an hour away now until the Switch 2 officially drops in stores, or before it officially becomes available for people to buy in stores and everything. So, but yeah, so it is weird that my Switch 2 is coming so late at night, but hopefully I'll have that unboxing video out on Friday. So yeah, so I thought I'd get my thoughts out there before the Switch 2 comes out. Yeah, and whoever decided to watch this, thank you for watching. Peace.